What's good, y'all? It's Anthony Casados. Man, my camera's kind of blurry. Maybe. All right, cool. Anthony Casados, Real Estate Junkies, with another episode. So today, quick little episode, man. I want to talk about. So little backstory. I mentioned it on the first video, on my very first episode. Where I said that I heard this podcast. What really got me into real estate was a podcast. I don't remember what exact podcast it was. That podcast eventually led me to Bigger Pockets, which then I started doing my whole binge watching and binge listening. But I don't remember what that podcast was. But all I remember is that podcast was labeled something along the lines of Real Estate 101, and it gave the different strategies on real estate. And now I kind of want to return the favor by kind of making a similar video breaking down the three main strategies in real estate that can lead you to success. So and then also I'll throw in some other, well, it's cuz it's kind of tough, cuz there's three main categories, right? Which is fix and flip, buy and hold, and wholesale. That just means those are the three main ways you control an asset, right? But there's just different avenues you can take in being part of a transaction. But as far as being the how do you call it? I guess the conductor of this transaction, these are the only three main ways, right? So we can dive into those, and then maybe if we have enough time, I can dive into the subcategories, and then we'll go from there, because there's so many ways to get started in real estate, and most people get confused. And from what I hear, a lot of people were just like, oh, I say, hey, I'm in real estate, and they're like, oh, you're an agent. I'm like, no, that's no. So kind of want to clear the air on what the three main components, or the three main ways to I guess be that composer of a transaction, be that composer of a property, right? So the first one, and it's the simplest one, is the fix and flip, right? Where you get a property that is in bad condition, and what you do is you put some money into it, make it pretty, and put it on the market and sell it for profit, right? So the main key ingredient of this is to find a deal that that is ugly, and that you can buy for for a good price, where there's got to be a spread, right? A lot of people use this example of $300,000 is what it's going to be worth at the end of the day when you fix it. So you got to buy that house at $150,000, right? Ideally. And then say you put $50,000 in repairs, you're all in $200,000, right? So you're all in $200,000, and you go and sell it on the market for $300,000. That's a spread of $100,000. Now you got closing costs, and you got all this and that. But to make numbers simple, you just made $100,000, right? And that's what a fix and flip. That's how fix and flip goes. A lot of misconceptions on fix and flips. So, and the main misconception. Actually, there's not a lot of misconceptions, but the main misconception of a fix and flip is that that you hear 200,000, you're like, bro, who the hell has 200,000? Well, most of the times, these fix and flippers, they don't even use their own money. Even if they have the $200,000, it would be dumb, and I won't get into the weeds of why it'll be dumb, in my opinion, right? But most of these fix and flippers do not use their own money to do these flips. What they do is they go get a high interest loan called hard money, or if they've been in the game for a while, they probably have some type of private money, which is probably cheaper on interest. They'll go borrow the money for a short period of time, 4 to 6 months, and then they'll cash out their partners, whoever they borrow it from, hard money, private money, whoever, and they break bread together. So essentially, if I mean, a lot of hard money people ain't gonna lend to you if you don't have some capital, in the bank. But essentially, you can go in it with none of your own money, right? So you go in, the main thing is having the deal. You go and find the deal, right? You find the deal, and you get it under market price. So you buy it at whatever, 100, 200, and you put repairs in it. You go hire a contractor, or you contract it yourself and go hire these subcontractors who then go and make your house pretty. After they make it pretty, now it's ready for the market. So the bank, will see it. Oh, that's a pretty house. Now I'm going to go appraise it for more than what it used to be worth, right? Then you just let it sit on the market and let it do its thing. You hire either, whether you go through an agent or not, or you have your own agent, and they market it for you, and then you sit and you make that profit. That's the fix and flip version. That's a good way to generate income. It's very active, right? Because you have to be part of that. I guess one of the cons is that, from what I've been seeing, being around a few flippers, is that, and arguments from wholesalers and other types of investors, is that it's not scalable. And it's after you're done with one flip, you got to go and find the next one. You got to go to find the next one. And so that brings me into the next I guess way of being that composer of the transaction, which is wholesale, right? So wholesale basically is almost the same thing as a fix and flip, except you're never gonna have the house, you're never gonna buy the house, right? So the fix and flipper buys the house, and then he hires a team of contractors to go and put their work into it and make it pretty, and then sell it on the market. Well, wholesalers, all their job is to be the middleman between the seller who's selling the house and the fix and flipper. So he's in the middle, the wholesaler's in the middle, saying, hey, seller, how much you trying to sell your house for? Oh, 150. Okay, cool, let's get under contract. Wholesaler goes and gets this guy under contract, and then he marks up the price a little bit, right? So he gets the contract at 150, and then he goes to the buyer and is like, hey, bro, I got this deal for 160, And so the buyer's like, bro, that's a good ass deal. Let's do some business. So the buyer brings his hard money people. I hope I didn't lose y'all, but he brings his hard money people and is like, hey, yo, I got this deal for 160. It'll appraise at 300 once it's fixed and pretty. Boom, that's a deal. So what the middleman did, wholesaler, he got the deal at 150, and now he's assigning it to the buyer for 160. So there his spread is 10K, right? And so when the buyer closes on that property initially, before he starts his renovation, wholesaler makes a $10,000 fee. And so that's wholesaling in a nutshell. And that, the cons of it, the pros of it is that it's quick money. The cons is that it's going to be less money than the fix and flipper. So people might argue oh, I'd rather flip a house than wholesale it, But if you really think about it, fix and flip can take 6 months. This transaction between a wholesaler and a buyer probably took 30 days. So imagine you doing 10 of those in a 6 month span, while the fix and flipper is just doing one flip in the 6 month. Sure, he might make a 50 grand spread, but if I make 10 $10,000 fees as a wholesaler, I made double of what that fix and flipper did. So it's all perspective and all, like, whatever you like doing. But those are the two ways that you can, like, be in control of an asset for a temporary time and, generate income that way. Again, those are active ways of making income. And those are the two main ways. Now, the third way is a little bit different, and it's slower, but it has its benefits on the back end because, and it's called buy and hold, right? So you buy a property and you hold it long term. Well, and that can mean either the property came already fixed and you bought it through a bank traditionally, with financing. Or you went and did almost a fix and flip route, but instead of fixing and flipping, you fixed it and held it, right? So you can go in it's called a BRRRR strategy, right? I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but this BRRRR strategy is when you buy, rehab. Don't get me started. Hold on. Refinance. Okay. So the main thing is, like, you have to refinance instead of flipping it, so that way you keep it for yourself. So let's backtrack a little bit. Instead of doing a fix and flip, you're like, hey, I want to keep this house. This is a nice house. And the rents, if I were to rent this thing out and get it refinanced, I'll be able to make $500 a month. Boom. You got yourself a BRRRR strategy. Now, little caveat to this is that in today's market, these BRRRRs ain't really working. And so, but I'm just here, I'm just the messenger, you know what I'm saying? And so these BRRRRs, they're not really working. You buy it, rehab, refinance, repeat. So you buy the property, you rehab it, and instead of selling it, you refinance it. And then you pull out cash and you keep it tax free. That, it's a dope strategy, but it doesn't work when these interest rates are super high and these rents are basically less than what mortgages are going for. So it's a tough day for, these BRRRR investors. I mean, it's a tough day and age for these BRRRR investors, but, they'll have their shine again soon. But that's why you got to be diverse in this. You got to know other strategies. And, if you're kind of stuck in your ways, been in the game for like 20 years and saying, hey, I've been doing BRRRR and that's the only thing that works and I'm at a standstill with it, and you're going to be at a standstill. Because what these other people are doing is they moving on to the creative side of things. And that's where it really gets into the weeds. I won't get into it now, but just know creative is where it's at. I'm just letting y'all know that. All right. So back to the basics. All right. So we got the fix and flip. We got the wholesaler, right? Fix and flipper, gotta have a little bit of money. You're gonna take 6 months. You're gonna make $50,000 check. You're gonna be nice. All right. The wholesaler, you don't gotta have too much money. If not, you probably won't have to even have money, right? Depending on how you strategize your marketing, you probably won't even have to have money. Okay. You're gonna make those assignment fees. Your work is to do the legwork. Like, as a wholesaler, you're gonna do some work. You gotta go find the leads. You gotta source the leads. You gotta find the leads. You gotta convert the leads. Convert them into a contract. Once those leads, okay. So when I say a lead, I mean go find these people that are distressed property owners. Go and find people that need to sell, not want to sell. Because those people that want to sell, they go on the market. You need to go find somebody that needs to sell. They're like, bro, I can't make my payments. I'm about to go in foreclosure. They need to sell. So you go and target those people. Go find some people that need to sell. And then you not convince them, but make them know, like, hey, bro, I'm here to make an offer. Are you willing to hear out my offer? Right? Put them under contract at a good enough price to where there's a spread. Right? There's a spread for you, and then there's a spread for a fix and flipper. Boom. You got yourself some spread. Shout out. All right. You go and get that spread, you get them under contract, and then you go and find a buyer. Boom. That's wholesaler. Fix and flipper, wholesaler. I already said those two things. Now, buy and hold. The benefits for buy and hold, right, is that you're going to hold that property for a long time. And the more properties you stack up, you're only probably going to make $200, $300, $400, $500 worth of, cash flow per month. But shit, if you got 10 of those, you know what I'm saying, at $500 a piece, that's $5,000 just coming in every month. The job is to go and find those properties, especially that cash flow. Now it's kind of tough without it being, subject to or seller finance. But they're still out there. And you have to, it's, okay, buy and hold is for the cash flow. Fix and flip wholesaling is for the active income. There's a difference between the two. So when you buy and hold, it's not going to be a lot of money, but you have other benefits on the back end. You have stuff like appreciation, depreciation, and stuff like that. I won't get into it. But with buy and hold, that's the end goal for a lot of people, is that they want to build wealth. There's a difference between riches and wealth. So wealth, buy and hold, you want to stack up your properties, and you want to just generate income in your sleep. See, with these fix and flips, you got to be up making money. You got to be working. So at the end of the day, you want to get yourself some rentals to have you pay for your retirement, to have you pay for your kids' college, all this and that. And that's like what really got me into wanting to pursue real estate, is because, like, with cash flow, you're making money in your sleep. And so that's what was really attractive about real estate for me. The one thing that really got me, and so those are the three main: fix and flip, buy and hold, wholesale. Those are the three ways you can control an asset. And, the three main ways of, doing real estate. The one thing, the one little subcategory of buy and hold was that really caught my eye when I first, heard about real estate on this podcast that I heard, was this thing called house hacking. So house hacking is a beautiful little tool that you can use, right? Like, the main thing is you go and get bank financing, and it probably doesn't work as good now, but you can still do it. Go get financing from a bank, get approved at 3.5% FHA down payment. And so you're not too much out of pocket. So stack a little bit of bread, right? And if you're young and don't have a family, I got a family, so I really can't do the house hacking thing. But if you're young and don't got a family, you go and do this house hacking strategy where you start your credit good. Your credit's got to be pretty decent. You go stack up some cash, work yourself a 9 to 5, stack up some cash, learn how to save some money. Stack up for that 3.5 plus closing costs and everything. Look for a house that has multiple bedrooms, or maybe a duplex or triplex, but those are a dime a dozen. But look for you a good house hacking house where you can rent out each room, rent out to your homies, like say you're going to college or whatever, rent out to the homies and let them pay your mortgage, and you live for free while you're stacking up for the next house hack. And so that was like super like to me, because I was like, bro, that's pretty dope. So like, you're living for free, you're having other people pay your mortgage, you're getting the appreciation of the house, meaning the house is appreciating in value. It's only getting more valuable. You probably bought it at 300, and next year probably be worth 305 or whatever. And then 10 years from now, it'll probably be worth 600 grand. Who knows? Depending on the area, right? There's a lot of different stuff we can do with real estate. That being said, that's just the beginning. And I kind of just wanted to end this video right here. And those are the three main ways. Three main ways with the added benefit of talking about house hacking, which is a subcategory of a buy and hold, because when you're house hacking, you're holding a property long term. And so that's what got me into it. That's what, like, when somebody put this into a podcast and I heard it for the first time. I was just mind blown, and so I'm kind of wanting to return the favor to whoever's out there listening, if anybody. And yeah, it's pretty dope. On the next episodes, I kind of, the solo episodes of me, I kind of want to go into more of like the nitty gritty type of situations. Maybe break them down into, their own episodes. Like we have the other categories, right? Like there's so much that goes into real estate. There's so much like niches you can be a part of. Just to name a few, there's first of all, there's the creative side of things, which is subject to seller finance, and a mixture of the two, which is hybrid. And that just, that's a whole nother freaking world you can get into. But yeah, there's novations. That's creative as well. There's subtels. There's just a lot of things. So I'll break a lot of that down. And then there's multifamily, which I know nothing about, right? The commercial properties. You can go deep dive into this real estate stuff. And shoot, if you got any questions, bro, DM me on Instagram. I can, or like suggestions on any videos you want me to make, I'll go ahead and do that. Just hit me up on Instagram, DM me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, show some love on these podcasts, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.